What's going on? It's your man KAHLEE. Welcome to the Status Escalate podcast, the music business show where every other week a guest and I speak on topics that could take an artist or entrepreneur to the next level. From promo strategies and social media tips to my top 3. The idea is to provide you, the listener, with tools, knowledge, and confidence to execute the next step in your music career. Today's guest is a longtime friend of mine from the Rhyme and Reason show on 101.1 The Beat in Phoenix, Arizona, my brother Mattlocks. Not only is my dude a radio personality and a DJ, but he's also a photographer, marathon runner, and he teaches a music business class at Phoenix University. Real quick, though, before we get into the episode, I want to thank you for subscribing to the show, rating, and reviewing it, because it really does help a lot. Also, don't forget, Farmers Market Hawaii and Status Escalate podcasts are going to give away a prize pack with stickers, music, and a free unreleased Farmers Market hat to one lucky winner who can answer the question, what's the secret sauce? Find the answer in my episode with Keone Painkillers Peyton and go to 310music.net/SEP to enter. We'll announce the winner on our show December 21st. Other than that, let's get into the show with my fam, Mattlocks.
I put in work and watch my status escalate.
So, what up, yo? This is Mattlocks. Currently, I work at KNRJ and KAJM, which is Mega 104.3 and 101.1 The Beat in Phoenix, Arizona. I also have an underground hip-hop show called Rhyme and Reason. We're on Friday nights, midnight to 2 a.m., and I teach music business at Phoenix College.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
It's been good to know you, about 10 years, 10-ish?
Yeah. It's got to be over 10, man. It's got to be over 10 years, brother.
It's close to that. And, I mean, I think something's, interesting about having a show like Rhyme and Reason, which is, independent hip-hop, on a station. There was a time where those types of shows, specialty shows, shining light on the lesser known artists was a more regular thing, and now it seems like there's not a lot of that around. Like, how'd you get into it, and how have you kind of been, I'm not gonna say the last man standing, because there's definitely others, but not as many as there used to be.
Yeah, there's so I've always loved hip hop. And so for me, all of my friends were all hip hop heads, and growing up in San Diego, we're so close to LA. I got to listen to K-Day, and hear Greg Mack and the Mac Attack.
Nice.
And, hear the Mix Masters, and my uncle was in radio and was a DJ, and he was a really famous DJ, and he got San Diego State to the #1 party school in Playboy's magazine. So
really,
that's how I learned how to DJ. Yeah, that's how I learned how to DJ. But I've always been around music. My mom is very musical. My dad was very music oriented. Like he hit me to Prince and Earth, Wind and Fire. And my first concert ever was Stevie Wonder. Like I just came out the womb listening to Stevie Wonder. So I've always been exposed to music, and I just naturally gravitated to hip hop. That was my lane. That was the music that I gravitated to. How I got into doing hip hop, I listened to Stretch Armstrong. I listened to the Baker Boys. I listened to the Wake Up Show. I've always been big fans. One of my best friends, Bias One, moved out to New York City from San Diego, 95, 96. And I used to call it like moving weight. Like I would send him like 20 packs of cassettes, and he would record all the mix shows. So I get Bobby Condors, I get Pete Rock, I get Marley Marl, I get Mayhem and Riz, I get all the Stretch Armstrong shows for like 95 into the beginning of 96. So I've always been just a fan of the underground hip hop shows, and I was recording on my own. I would go over to my dad's house on the weekend, and I would record because he would be able to get Power 106. So and the beat. So I would be able to listen to the Baker Boys, and then on Saturday night, listen to the Wake Up Show on the beat. And I would record those because that's what I would listen to in my Walkman all week.
I just wanted to, cause for anybody listening that's not really aware of some of these names that he's throwing out, like Power 106 and 92.3, The Beat, or, they changed the numbers, but The Beat and Power 106 and K-Day, all huge stations in the Los Angeles area. And so where was your pops living?
My pops lived way out in the suburbs of San Diego, but he lived it's called San Carlos, so it's next to Santee. So he was, just by stroke of luck, that I would have the radio in the living room, in the front living room, and I would be able to get Power 106 and 92.3 The Beat clear.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I would just be planted there and just recording and listening to the show and just, getting scooped. Like, I remember when, Nick and Eric play like The Roots, Rozelle versus Questlove. Like, I remember like him talking about like how dope, like, you guys are not even gonna believe like Rozelle's beatboxing and scratching and, Quest is playing his drum. Like, I remember all that. I remember when they played Elevators for the first time. And like, wow. For me, and for a lot of us, that was like life. That was the life for us. Like that, we had dope outlets like UMTV Raps and Rap City that we would watch after school, and those were around, and UMTV Raps was a staple. But like for radio, it was the Wake Up Show, and it was the Baker Boys with Friday Night Flavors. Those were, and I guess in the long run, I've always been like, that'd be dope to have an underground hip hop show. I never really thought about it in terms of like me having my own show, but I'm listening to all these shows that I have a ton of respect for, and I guess I was getting groomed for it.
So first of all, no internet, and the way the music was moving, like you said, you moving weight. You're sending blank cassette tapes to your peoples on the East Coast, and they were filling them up with music that basically you couldn't get unless you were there.
Correct.
And so you get these tapes, and then what would you do with them?
Yeah, me and my friends would listen to them. I would only let like 2 or 3 of my best friends like borrow them and like actually listen to them, take them, because I would be like, no, I want my tapes back. Like so, yep. and that worked because I still have my tapes to this day. Like I still have all my tapes that I sent out and got sent back. And yeah, this was pre-internet. This was pre-social media. This was the only outlet for us hip hop kids to hear our music on the radio was through the Baker Boys and Friday Night Flavors and the Fantastic Four, and through the Wake Up Show. And then, luckily for me, my friend was dope enough to stay up late and record, because Stretch and Bob would come on like 1 to 4 a.m. In New York on a Thursday night. Or Wednesday night. It was Wednesday night or Thursday night. He would come on 1 to 4 a.m. So he would stay up late and record those every week. And so I just got really lucky with getting the New York shows and being exposed to all the dope underground from New York that was on the radio. I just got really lucky. And I only have 95 to the early 96. So I consider myself lucky because those are like the explosive years of each of those shows, especially for Stretch's show on the East Coast. That's when it was starting to just wildfire.
Really cracking. Yeah. I have my version of that too. Fantastic Four, Wake Up Show specifically, and Mike Nardone, KXLU out of Loyola Marymount College.
Absolutely.
Man, just doing the same thing and then mixing that with like, Julio G playing like the underground, but not, like Dog Pound, Snoop Dogg underground stuff though, like B-sides and not the pop stuff, and making these mixtapes and taking them to school and playing them in the gym while we're working out and kind of like spreading the mixtape love. I mean, even as I got older and getting into burning mix CDs and things like that, taking the bus from, when my wife now, she was still my lady living in Chula Vista, which is deep in San Diego. And then I'm living in Los Angeles. We looking about a 2.5 hour drive, and I'm taking the bus with extra burnt CDs. So many times I met cats, let them hear some stuff, turned them on to some new music, gave them the CD. You know what I mean? So like just spreading the word. And that's kind of like what I was getting at with you, like early on even, had you not, been afraid to lose your cassette tapes, which is a very real fear. Because
it is.
I got many empty cases of CDs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know where the CDs
Same
went.
thing with my CDs.
Yeah, so I feel you. But the idea was like you got this greatness, and people don't know about it, and you just had that urge to let people hear it. And I feel like that's also a big reason why you're where you're at right now. Like modeling yourself after like these underground hip hop shows, but really it's just like you just trying to get that music out to people.
Yeah, I think one thing that really stood out to me was like, my I was listening. I have the Stretch Armstrong show where Big Pun came in and like absolutely destroyed his freestyle. And like, it's funny to hear like Joe say like, yeah, this is my dog, Big Pun, big dog Punisher.
Yeah,
call him at in the beginning, Big Dog Punisher. Like to hear them, hear him like formally introduce him and like this is your time to get put on right now, and he just like absolutely murders it. And it's like just those things. Like the internet has kind of made it hard to have those type of moments anymore.
Estevan Oriol, famous photographer, and he made
one of my photography idols.
He's amazing, dude, and he made a really great point. And I feel that this could especially be put into music as well. He's talking about, people nowadays, few people work with film, and you got digital cameras. You could take 1 million shots. There's much less pressure to get that right shot. You take 1 million shots, and chances are you're going to have a couple good ones, and when you got that film, the time it takes, the money it takes, you probably ain't got money to begin with. You really got to make sure you wait for that right moment and get that right shot. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with music these days, to like kind of what you're saying. Like not only do those moments not exist as much anymore, but people can make music off their phone and it sounds better than some of the stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just oversaturated with I don't think it always has to be this way, but people aren't going through as much to make their music or create their art. And sometimes, a lot of times it seems that's the reason why the art is lacking.
I mean, you look at it today and you see the kids and they see little Yachty, they see little Uzi Vert, they see Designer, they see, I'm sure there's plenty of other examples, but you see them and you see like they have movements and what they're saying is not audible most of the time, but it seems, and they go, oh, well, if they could do it, well, then I could do it, and, the principles of what we uphold in hip hop is like no biting allowed, must be original, got to have skills. Like those are kind of, it is pushed to the wayside now. The core values of what we knew growing up in this hip hop shit is, kind of pushed to the wayside now. And, there's still champions like DJ Premier and Dr. Dre. And like, there's still champions of those old school values, but the new kids kind of don't want to hear that.
Right.
Cause they're like, nah, I'm rocking with my movement, son. Like I got my movement already.
It's almost like they're biting on purpose sometimes just so they could make fun of people who like to be original. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, there's some Truman Show element to what's going on in hip hop right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Lots of trolling. Like trolling it's like next level trolling. You know what I mean? And they put themselves. Sometimes it seems like they put themselves in a position to where everyone refers to them as hip hop, accept themselves, even though they know damn well that was their goal, just so that they could say they're not hip hop. Like it's really trendy to be like, I'm not hip hop. Like I know you ain't hip hop, but you trying to be in the hip hop world though.
Right. Yeah. You still are using our hip hop core and sensibilities. So just say that you are.
I mean, it's a subgenre no matter what, but I just feel like I mean, well, how does okay, so I'm not aware of all your everything that you do on your stations, but I know Rhyme and Reason is on some hip hop stuff. So when does it come to you playing stuff like Little Yachty or what's the other fool that I can't stand? Little Uzi Vert. That fool. I can't stand that fool. But
most rappers that have Lil in the front of their name. I mean. Okay, so in radio, And we don't really have this luxury because we are a classic hip hop station.
Right.
So that means our music library goes from basically 89 to 2003.
Oh.
So if you graduated high school in 2000 or 2001, 2002 or 98 or 99, 1999, somewhere around there, we're your target.
That's nice. So that's a good transition too.
Yeah, we're looking at a 30-year-old guy or girl that grew up listening to what we're playing and still loves it to this day.
Nice.
So and they're older, so they're not hip with the newer music, so they'd rather listen to the stuff that they were listening to in high school.
Have you ever, so for the most part, you may play songs that you don't necessarily like, but it's not that you don't like it. It's more like this is like the popular one. You might prefer to play a B-side song or something like that, but you're not playing somebody that you don't like necessarily, right?
Yeah, we're not playing. We don't. Our station doesn't play any current music,
right.
And if we do, it is like it's like 10%.
Right.
And so you'll get the Drakes, the Kendricks, the J. Coles, the ones that kind of push through.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not even a Drake fan, but I don't have a problem playing some Drake because I know even he may be singing this whole song right here, but I know he got bars though. So even that's better than a lot of these other dudes who's like you can't even understand if they got bars or not.
Right. The thing about Drake that I will always say to people that say that they hate him is that he still holds the core of the hip hop values.
Yeah.
Doesn't bite. He's still original. Got bars.
Yeah, he definitely got bars when he wants to use them. I don't listen to enough.
Yeah,
to really
when he wants to use them, and that's a good thing to have.
Yeah,
because most people will try to do what he does, and they don't have the bars to back it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, for our station, we really pride ourselves in playing the songs that you were listening to. A lot of West Coast. We do West Coast Wednesdays. Dr. Dre's, the Snoop Dogg's, the Dog Pounds. We will play the Ja Rules, the Wu-Tang Clan sometimes, like just stuff like that. The Notorious B.I.G., of course, anything from Bad Boy, Mace.
Right.
Because that's the stuff that, when you're in high school, you were rocking to. You were rocking to Mace. As much as you don't want to say you were. You were rocking to Mace. You were rocking to DMX. You were rocking to Eminem.
Yeah.
To Common. So we're pretty lucky in a way that we don't get bogged down with the new bullshit that you hear on the other station that here in Phoenix that they have to play because they're younger.
Right.
And they're all about new music.
They're going to that demo.
So their demo is a little younger than ours. So our listener probably has kids that listen to that other station, but they don't want to listen to their kid's station.
Right.
They still want to listen to the stuff they grew up on. So the beat is 10 years old. And it was us and K-Day for a long time. And I think now there's about 12 stations across the country that play some type of classic hip hop or R&B or classic hip hop and R&B hybrid type station.
Right.
And that's because the demo that graduated in the 90s and in the 2000s are now transitioning to be parents and spending money.
Yeah.
So now the markets can withstand, it's kind of funny that, hip hop you think of classic rock and you think of, we call them adult contemporary for old school pop. But now to have classic hip hop stations, like hip hop has been around long enough now, you have classic hip hop stations.
It's a trip for sure.
So it's funny to see the expansion of stations across the country, like Boston, Dallas, Houston, New York, of course, Phoenix, San Diego. They're all taking kind of, that playbook that us and like K-Day have been doing for a long time, and it's now starting to get popular.
How do you feel that things have changed for you being the DJ, on the stations and everything, as like the podcasts are continuing to get huger and satellite radio is I don't know if takeover is the right word, but there's just so many outlets for a combination of dope music,
Yeah.
How has that changed the way you approach what you're doing?
So here's what I tell my students, and I take this poll in almost every semester class that I do. I tell my students, okay, how many of you have Pandora? And they raise their hand. How many of you have Spotify? And they raise their hand. How many of you have Tidal? No hands raised. How many of you have Beats or Apple Music? A couple of hands raised up. How many of you actually have satellite radio? And how many of you actually pay for satellite radio? Usually about 1 to 2 people raise their hands out of the whole class. And I usually have 16 to 20 students in my class every semester. So the thing I like to say is we are cheap.
Right.
Like Pandora is $3 a month for unlimited, and we won't pay for that. We'll pay for Spotify. It's 10. We pay for Apple Music. It's 10. But if it was to go up to 20, like Tidal was going to do, people wouldn't pay for it.
Right.
And so yes, there's options when listening to music and listening to the music that you want to listen to. But at the end of the day, everybody will always take free.
Right.
So radio is not going away. Satellite radio, there's a market for it, but it's a very small market of the pie.
Right.
And it's not going to grow because satellite has a bad business plan. The business plan for satellite was supposed to be commercial free. Well, commercial free doesn't pay bills.
Right.
So that's why if you're a Sirius or XM subscriber, most of your channels now have commercials. It's interesting when, people have the perception that satellite is impacting terrestrial radio, but it is far from the truth. Terrestrial radio now is reaching farther than television. And because people
TiVo
don't watch television
DVR.
The same way anymore.
They definitely don't watch the commercials.
The DVR changed things. People don't watch television anymore. So radio has a further reach, a better reach now. In the last 2 years, radio has a better reach than television because you can't, there's no DVR for radio.
Right. Which is interesting because we're in a time where everybody wants what they want and they want it as soon, like right now, but you don't necessarily have that with radio. And if they're still coming back to it, then that says something. Yeah, because everybody will want free. You'll never have a car that doesn't have transistor radio. Why? Because everybody will still resort to free. And people, while they want to listen to the music that they want to listen to, that's not all the time. Right. You end up going back to the radio and listening to the radio and finding something on the radio. You use your radio first and then resort to the aux cord or resort to the Bluetooth. But you're still listening to radio first. Yeah. And as long as there's something on radio that you're listening to, you're going to listen to that first until you get fed up with the songs that are on the radio from the stations that you have in your presets. Then you will go to the aux cord. Right, or whatever else. Yeah, I hear you. Or whatever else, yeah. The aux cord, or you have Bluetooth and just have Apple Music, or you have your Spotify. You can just play it. Audiobooks is really big. Podcast, yeah. And you know what? Podcasting is an medium that is going to be around for forever because people have been podcasting forever. It's just people think that it's popular now, but people have been doing podcasts for 10 years or more. Yeah. So it's just now certain people that have our attention are doing podcasts and we want to listen and we want to take in, but there's people that have been podcasting for 10 years already. Yeah. And have a strong audience. And podcasting is great because it kind of, you get a lot of backstory and a lot of context on a lot of shit that's out there. And there's a lot of interesting podcasts out there. I listen to Serial. Serial is one of my favored podcasts. I still haven't gotten into it. I love that podcast. I still haven't gotten into it. Yeah, I love that podcast. I love Combat Jack. I love Seif and Rosenberg's podcast. I dig a lot. There's a Laura Stiles. I like hers. Like, there's a lot of different
podcasts out there that are really dope. I mean, Stone's Throw does a cool one.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of dope
basically
stuff
anything
out there. And I think
you
that's
do,
the new wave.
there's a podcast for you, and you know that niche. It's all about the niche, you know.
Yeah, and being able to grow that audience, and then getting it to a point where you have feasible numbers to actually get corporate sponsorship. And then once you do that, you're in. Yeah, and that's a great business model. If you're a compelling enough show, and you're a compelling enough interviewer, and you have compelling enough guests, you should be able to make money in the podcast game.
Yeah, I mean, this show right here is about giving value to the listeners, you know, helping them to get through and moving forward. And since it's such like a niche, you know, show, I think even when you have a less, let's say we got a couple thousand listeners per show compared to this other show that's got, you know, 100,000 listeners, but that show is like a general show. Though it's entertaining demographic wise, it's not as beneficial to certain companies as my show that only has a couple thousand listeners. So, and obviously that's going to grow too, but at least those couple thousand listeners are here to learn about how to move forward in the music business and their careers.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
You know, it's really, I heard an example, I think it was like School of Podcasting. I listen to a lot of podcasts about podcasts too, along with other things.
Yeah. As you should, because it's going to make you a better podcast.
Yeah. And this dude's saying how somebody hit him up and was like, I've been doing this podcast about like this very specific like graphic design work, but it was even more specific than just graphic design. It was some specific style or something. I don't know, but the dude had like 200 listeners or something every episode consistently, and he did it for like a couple months, and he quit, and the dude's like, man, when's the last time you taught a class with 200 students? He's like, because that's what you're doing. Every single show is a class with 200 students. Now that idea doesn't go across the board, but at the same time, depending on what value you're adding to who, like you have a much better chance of monetizing your show and your information, and actually still being able to give real. It doesn't have to be watered down just because you're getting paid, you know. So that's really what's dope. I think about that's one of the big things that I really dig about the podcast opportunities that you have, you know.
Yeah, the digital hustle is real. The digital hustle is real, and people are monetizing it, and people are doing cool shit that people can gravitate to. It's like you gotta give a reason for people to tune in every week. Yeah. Is this like a television show or a radio show?
Yep.
Podcasts has to be treated the same way.
Yep.
You plan it out. You try and get the best guests that you can get possible, that you think can give you a compelling hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours or however long your show is. You plan it out just like you do any other normal show or TV show. You know, the digital hustle is real.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of real estate out there that is getting swapped up fast.
That's the other thing. There's so many people doing it that, there's a lot of bullshit, but at the same time, it forces the good ones to really get out there and make quality, shows that people. So sometimes it may or may not be hard to find it, but you see some really good stuff, especially now since it's gaining popularity on such a, I've been in a podcast for like the last 4 years, and over these last few years, even though it's not new, this is now, there's still guests on shows who are like, so I don't really understand what a podcast is. I'm like, what? Like, this is a trip, because you do press all the time. You should at least have an idea, even though it's your first podcast. So, I just trip out. But I think that's what's dope is like, in order to progress, some people will make it through based off of a status or a name or money. But for the most part, a lot of these people are coming through really good shows and quality, stories, material, whatever it is that they're giving you. And I think that's really dope, man.
Yeah, I like in the podcast game to like listening to music or being an artist or, there's plenty of artists out there releasing music every day or every Tuesday or every Friday or whenever they want. There's thousands of releases every week. But people navigate to the good shit.
Yep.
Through all the thousands and thousands of releases. Same with the podcast. There's thousands and thousands of podcasts every week. People navigate through all those through all the bullshit and we'll find you if you keep consistently doing a good podcast.
Yep. Nothing that part's not changed. Hard work and quality work. Like it's never if, it's just when, for sure.
Yeah.
Before we get too far off, man, one of the main things I really wanted to let people know is kind of how you go about finding new music to play on the Rhyme and Reason show, and just, in general, if you're spinning, whatever the case, like, and kind of like if you have a routine that you go about finding new music, if you have a place where you go, mixed with, you probably have like a combination of like a mailing list and things like that. But I kind of want to move from there into how these cats should approach you to get music on your show, because I think sometimes people think that you're a magician. You do play magic, but at the same time, like, I think people are intimidated by it sometimes, and it's understanding. So let's give them an idea of like how those things happen and how they can happen.
Okay, so being the lead of the show and it's pretty much my show. It's my baby. I have rock and I have psychopath and I have fact. I listen to a lot of music just in general, just personally. I'm always scouring the net. One of my consistents for a long time has always been Two Dope Boys. Shouts out to Shake. And Mecca, that's been one of the avenues I've always looked at. It's funny. Sometimes Facebook, sometimes YouTube, sometimes friends of friends that know that I work on Rhyme and Reason. That's my show. But they already know, like, they'll set the email, they'll set it off like, okay, I already know your standards, but this should get your standards. All right. So they send it to me and they know, and typically they're right. But yeah, really, I listen to a ton of music. I listen to music all the time. I'm always listening to new releases. I'm always aware of music that's out there. I stumble upon a lot of music too. I can't be everywhere and can't hear everything, but I do rely on friends, and I'm just scouring the net. A part of my job and being in radio is, a lot of social media through the websites, through the stations. And so I'm on the internet a lot. So, sometimes music hits my feed and I'm like, yo, that's kind of dope. Or, shouts out to Jess at Cosign Promotions, and my dude Triple J at Foundation Media, and Papa D. Like, they always hit me with emails about stuff that they're working on the independent and the college record pool and the college radio level side. So I get music that way too. Those have been like my long time mailing list. Papa D and Foundation Media and Cosign I've been rocking with them for probably 10 plus years. So
these are all ways that cats, like, real quick, let me throw this in, because I think, again, like, even when I was early on, I think I was pretty much always trying to get my music to people. And as soon as I seen the end, I was like, how can I present my music in a professional way? And sometimes I'm afraid, or at least I was like, maybe they don't want me to attach an MP3, or maybe they want this, or maybe they want that. And, all you could kind of do sometimes is obviously pay attention and take notes. When they tell you do this, like, be happy they told you to do something. Yeah. You know what I mean? But definitely the main thing is professionalism. Don't write like a 3-paragraph, thing on your first time talking to somebody, you know what I mean? And just be cool and make sure that you're ready with your music, because, man, sometimes cats are sending you like voice memos that they recorded on their iPhone, and that's the hot shit. Yeah. They think that's the hot shit.
Okay, so what I tell my students, and I think for me, I don't necessarily think that I do, but I've been told that I come across pretty intimidating, and I don't think so, but I mean, I've heard it a lot. I guess that's too because they understand the standard that I do of my show and the quality of my show.
Right.
Like, I'm not just going to play anybody just because you're from Phoenix. a lot of MCs are pretty hesitant to approach me, and Rock is a maniac. So it's hard. It's hard. We make it really hard. But if you do come up to us and talk to us, we're going to talk to you. And if you do send us your music, just send us a link where we can listen to it. And just be like, I just want your honest opinion. At the end of the day, that goes further than trying to sell your music. Be like, listen, I know you do the show. I listen to your show. Here's some songs that I would like to get some feedback on. And if you think that they're worthy enough, I would hope that you could spin them. I'll tell you a good example. It's funny because I had a promotions rep and he does beats, and he randomly sends me beats that he's working on just to send them. Here's another batch, like listen to these. And I'll listen to them occasionally when I have time, and they're dope. So he posted up a video of a cat that he produced, and I watched the video because I knew the director of the video. So I watched the video and the song was dope. I was like, yo, and I hit him up like, yo, you got to send me this track like ASAP. And he's like, word? And I was like, yeah, we're going to play that track. We played it on Friday and he heard it. Yeah. This cat named Salty Brazi. He's pretty dope, man. And, that's some of the ways that I kind of stumble upon music, but, there's been a few artists that have actually come up and know that I teach music business and actually have wanted, like Mouse Pal. He'll always ask me questions. And, Atlas was one guy who was like, nah, I don't even want, it's not really about the music. I just want to get your knowledge of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soak up knowledge. And that's cool. I respect that. I respect that just as much. Like, not all of it has to be like, I make the dopest music. But if you're willing to like take some criticism and understand why I'm saying these things, or, maybe you should do this or do that, or, go about it this way. Rocky Tirade was another example of that too. Like he was just like, yo, what do I need to do? And like this and that. And, he's always been like, here's new songs, and he just sends them to me. And it's like, whatever if you like it or you don't, here, I'm sending it to you. So I would be, I'll tell my students that are rappers and just rappers in general or artists in general, be friends with DJs. Go to the hottest clubs and try and be cool with the DJ. If you can give your music to the DJ and the DJ listens to it and the DJ likes it, 9 times out of 10, you got something kind of going.
Yeah.
Find the radio DJs that are on the radio that are spinning like the hottest time slots, like afternoon drive and morning drive. Find them and try and get cool with them, because those will help. That will help you get in on the radio station, or at least that will get you ears to somebody who may have a venue to play your music in.
Yeah,
and then too, I say don't ever discount the strip clubs. Don't ever discount the strip clubs, because strip clubs are a great place for people to hear music that definitely might not get played anywhere else. There's a ton of people listening to what's playing while the girls are dancing. Don't ever discount the strip clubs.
They're definitely getting a good association. So if they do hear your song and something great is happening for them at that moment, they will associate it with that.
And I think too, like people laugh when I say don't knock the strip clubs, but if you think about it, lots of business gets handled and transactions get handled in the strip club.
Yeah.
And you never know, somebody who may have some financial backing that digs that song, that may go, who is that kid? I love this song. And is he signed, or can I help him? So that's why I say never knock the strip club either, because it's another outlet.
Yeah. Some regions of the country, that's the number one place they go into, the club. That's where the new stuff is getting broke.
If you go to Atlanta, that is, if you could get your song played in the strip clubs, you're doing it right.
Nice.
Yeah. So I always still tell everybody, just, no really long. You can introduce yourself if you've never met. Links to the song. You don't necessarily put the MP3s. Or if you have a SoundCloud or you have Bandcamp, somewhere they can click and then play. Makes it a lot easier. It doesn't fill up the inbox because we all have inbox issues. Or our inbox is like 2% from going overboard.
It's
and
been
if you
2%
send it
for the last
that gets
10
me
years.
Overboard, yeah.
Deleting.
So if you give me an MP3 that gives me overboard, I'm probably not going to listen to it because I'm going to be mad that I'm over and I can't send or receive emails. So if you can just shoot links that where I can go to SoundCloud or I could go to these places and hit play and listen, I'm going to listen to it. And then too, you have to want the feedback. Don't
pretend you want feedback. Don't just say, give me some feedback because you heard that's what you're supposed to say. You got to actually be willing to take it.
Embrace the criticism. That's what I tell a lot of rappers. Embrace the criticism. The criticism is what's going to get you to the promised land. Embrace the criticism and work on that. Ignore everybody who's saying, yo, that record's dope, that record's dope. Nah, talk to the person who has that kind of smug face, is not really rocking with the song, and ask him why he's not rocking with the song. Because he's going to give you the honest answer. Your boys are always going to gas you up. Your parents are always going to love you regardless. Your girlfriend's always going to love you regardless. Find the people who are going to give you... They
don't have obligation to you.
Yeah, gonna give you constructive criticism, not the hater, but give you constructive criticism and embrace the constructive criticism. And then once you do that, then man, you're gonna get on your way because you're gonna fix all the things.
I'll say this too that kind of relates to it. Every time if you ever hear an actor talk about what it takes to be an actor, the main thing is you need to have that tough skin to handle rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection, and just be waiting for that one little success and then possibly do it all over again. You know what I mean? And the other thing I'll say is, like, just because somebody gives you constructive criticism, I think you should always keep it, but you may or may not, that may not be right. You know what I mean? But at least you know what this crowd, it's all different demographics and different ideas and combinations of what people feel and, you know, things like that. One day one person doesn't like it. Next day they actually hear it from a different, you know, perspective, and it's their favorite song. So it's just more reasons to really look into it. And like you said, look for the people who aren't obligated to bullshit you and give you false confidence, because false confidence is a hell of a devil, man.
It's the worst.
Not good.
It's the worst. It's the worst that you could do is fall into the false confidence trap.
Yeah, so all that's great, man. I want to go to a quick break and then come back, get you with some of these questions, man. So this is Status Escalate Podcast. What's going on? I want to take a quick minute to tell you about our sponsors, DeadstockCloset.com. Deadstock Closet specializes in vintage gear and accessories of all styles and brands. Shop at DeadstockCloset.com and receive your purchase hand-cleaned, ironed, and ready to wear. Use the coupon code SEPodcast at checkout and get 10% off your purchase, plus an additional discount on your next one. DeadstockCloset.com. Vintage flyness straight to your doorstep. And of course, if you're an artist looking to gain exposure and grow your fan base, as you should be, go to StatusEscalate.com. Status Escalate is a PR company who will create awareness for you as an artist and expand your brand. Status Escalate has been spreading the word on new up-and-coming artists for years with a strong focus on hip-hop. Go to the contact section at StatusEscalate.com and discuss a package and rates. Let them know you heard about them through our podcast, and you'll get 50% off your first project. StatusEscalate.com.
And watch my status escalate.
Status Escalate Podcast. I'm here with my man Mattlocks, my fan from Phoenix, well, out in Phoenix, AZ, doing the damn thing, bringing like the dope hip hop to all the heads. You know, we're telling people how to possibly get played, regardless of you getting played on a new station, approaching, you know, people the right way, gathering information and helping you move forward, man, because a lot of times y'all are stuck in your zone, and I think there's a good time for that. But you need to come out and see how everybody else takes it in before you go back into your shell and create more art, you know? First off, do you have any daily routines that helps you get through your everyday?
I work out. I work out every day. I work out almost every day. That has evolved into the stress relief that I need to deal with the bullshit that I deal with. So and more working out, but on top of that, or the main thing is actually running. Yeah. Running as, you know, and then I want to get into meditation, but running has made a difference in, you know, my life the last 4.5, 5 years, because, you know, I've dropped the weight. I was a heavy dude. I've dropped the weight, and it's really that's a consistent routine in my life is to work out or to run. So you're not harboring all of the stress of your work day.
Yeah.
So I would encourage people to really if it's meditation, do meditation. If pray, but do some type of activity to take the negativity of the day away, and that's working out. Even if you do push-ups at home, if you do push-ups or squats or sit-ups at home, you could do that, and you'll feel better after it. Or what I would like to do sometimes if I had more time is just go into my music room and actually just get on the tables and make a set and play a set, because that's just stress relief. So those are the things kind of do daily to get back into a mind state or a better place than to deal with the ills of what's going on with everything in society and work.
Yeah, get those toxins out. Whatever your outlet is, pay attention. You did something these last couple of days, and you just kind of feel better than usual. Maybe try to bring that into your everyday habit, because, man, we all need some kind of outlet, right?
Yeah, you do. You really need. I think that's the problem with a lot of people is that they don't. A lot of people don't have the desire or the will to want to do that every day. It's you got to find your outlet. Everybody deals with stress every day. Everybody deals with BS every day, and you have to really make time for yourself to find an outlet that can get rid of that daily stress.
Yeah, you got to make time.
So it doesn't build up.
I think I'm talking to myself here as well. I knew a dude who was always out promoting. Oh, every time I seen him, never had a smile on his face. Never, always the blackest cloud around, the darkest cloud around, dude.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, and he'd be like, oh, I'm tired. Like, everybody's tired, but he's just super tired. I'm like, well, you need to get some sleep, brother. I can't sleep. I got to do all this. I'm like, yo, if you don't get some sleep, you don't figure out a way to make time and get some sleep, you're not going to have a choice soon. You know what I mean? Because you're going to get sick, you're going to be out of commission, whatever the case. So it's hard, because even myself, sometimes I've been wanting to meditate, for a long time, and I just haven't made the time yet, but it's something that, I'm focusing on. So if you're out there and you got this thing that you really feel strongly is going to help you, but you just haven't made the extra step, to do it, we suggest that you try to figure that out, man. Make it happen.
Because it's all a part of this wellness. I mean, and then from that, some creativity can spawn, or you just feel better about yourself. So then you just feel better in general instead of being pissy and taking that pissy feeling from the day or waking up pissy. You channel it into something that you can get rid of it, and then unblock all the bullshit and then go on with your day.
Fresh, feeling fresh. Do you have any life hacks?
I guess, the thing that I really am bad about is time management, but I'm getting better. So for me, really to focus on the things that I really need to focus on getting done, and then moving that off the plate and then moving on. That has really helped me. I'm a natural procrastinator. I actually excel at procrastinating. I can wait till the last minute and then come out winning on everything that I do. So I try not to do that, because I know, that's just kind of reverting back to the old, is just knowing that I can wait and put it off. But for me, with my job and teaching and trying to do photography and other things, really trying to balance time management is kind of been the key. And then for me, I'm a night owl, and I really try to curb that too, because I try to get in bed by midnight at the latest. I was 3 or 4 a.m. type dude. That was me. And that doesn't get your body well.
Right.
When you can't get at least 6 to 7, try and get 8. But if you could get 6 or 7, even if you get 7, if you can get 7 consistently, your body will thank you.
Yeah. I hear that.
Another thing for me, and it's funny, you're going to laugh when I say this, but I drink a gallon of water every day.
Oh man, I'm not laughing. I'm trying, bro. I just took 2 weeks off of work. It was really hard.
Yeah.
But when I'm at work, I'm drinking not a gallon, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, for me, that was the biggest change for me, is because I fought water for a really, really long time. And my mom was always on me like, your liver is going to shrivel up. Your insides are going to shrivel up. You drink too much sugary stuff. You don't drink any water. Yep, she was right. She was absolutely right. And, now it is try to get a gallon in every day, or close to a gallon as I can every day, water intake. And I noticed the difference. I noticed the difference when I'm running, especially because I run. I have to stay hydrated to run the distances I run. So,
how far do you run usually?
So I usually run 2 times during the week, small runs like 4 miles, and then Saturdays are my long runs. I just ran 8 miles this Saturday. Saturday before that, I ran 9. I'm training for a half marathon, so that's 13 miles. So I'm just trying to keep my miles high on Saturday for my long runs. So going into the half marathon in January, I'll be ready to go. And I'm going to just consistently run throughout the year, because I'm probably going to do the Chicago Marathon in October.
Nice.
So I got some goals, and that's helped too. Is through running is setting goals, like, because you have to train. You have to train properly for the race, or else you can get jacked up running a half marathon if you don't take it seriously.
Tell me a little bit about that, like how you plan it. Because I feel like this could be applied to different things, not just running.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, like, if I know I'm going to run a half marathon, so my half marathon is in January. It's the first weekend in January. I need at least 6 weeks. I need at least 6 weeks of consistent running at least three times a week, and get up to at least 10 miles in my long runs. Then I know I'll be able to finish the half marathon. So the rule of thumb is, and I learned this from my runner friends, the rule of thumb is, for a half marathon, if you run 10 miles in training, the last 3 miles are a wash. You're going to be able to finish. For a full marathon, it's 26.2 miles. If you can run 20 or 21 miles, you'll be able to finish the full marathon. So I live by that. And, I use the Nike Run app, the NRC app, and you can map it out, and it will tell you the days you need to run, and just follow it. And that has helped me. It's got me really regimented in when I need to run. And then it helps in time management, because I know, all right, well, my Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday days, I have to run this many miles. And it reminds you, like, you got to run 4 miles tonight. All right, cool. I know I have to run 4 miles sometime today. So it circles back to time management and preparation.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, and having an actual routine. So you're not just, I'll run today, I'll run tomorrow. It's like, yeah, I guess some people are like, more spontaneous than others. And if that works for you, fine. Only you could decide if it works for you, but just don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
If it's not working, try something different, and writing things down, setting alarms, or getting an app to do so might be the thing. Probably is, actually. What are some daily obstacles that you go through, and like, how do you get past them? Something like on the daily.
I mean, there's always disagreements at work about certain things. I'll always say this: you're always going to have obstacles, whether you want to choke the shit out of your coworker, or you want to choke the shit out of your general manager, or your boss, or your CEO, because you think that he's an idiot, or you think your coworker is an idiot, or you think that your whatever is an idiot. Those things happen daily in any job.
Right.
And it's vice versa. Like, that happens, sometimes you just want to really choke the crap out of your coworker. Like, did you really say that? But for me, I've always been, a very diplomatic. I don't take things personally. I think that's a rule one that anybody, and if you read the 4 agreements, that's one of the 4 agreements, is don't take anything personally, unless they're talking about your mom or they're talking about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take anything personally, because I think that if you live by that, then it's really hard for you to get emotionally riled up when somebody says stupid things.
Yeah.
You're able to process it and not take it personally, and then actually come back at them in a different way in a situation. So that is always that book, The Four Agreements, has really been a mainstay, because all of those rules really apply. And that one, the main one, is don't take things personally, has always been has always been one that I use the most, because in the industry, in the radio industry, you have people that will get on your nerves. And if you don't take it personally, then you don't allow them to get on your nerves.
Less emotional connection. At least you see, like, you know, it could be they're just like this. It could be, you know, they've been through something that has nothing to do with you, and unfortunately you're the one. Whatever it is, the point is, it definitely makes it a little easier to handle when you're not taking it personally, or you don't think that it's some personal vendetta against you, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes it is. But I've found that a lot of times the people that are hating on you, if you don't take it personal and you don't take it like that, you know, they're going to either leave you alone, or it's definitely going to bother them a little bit. So it's kind of a win-win for you. I mean, I don't know what kind of person you are, but, you know what I mean? Like,
you diffuse the situation.
Yeah. I just brush it off sometimes and assume, like, well, there's no reason why this person should be upset at me. So whatever they got going on, I might not like it, but I'll figure out a way to just get myself out, you know, the situation. So I hear that. And then, you know, and being in entertainment and things like that, a lot of times it doesn't have to be a job. You don't have to work with this person. You know, it's a choice.
Yeah.
So if this ain't the right person, this ain't the right person. My feelings towards that is like, be cool with everybody. You don't got to be their homie. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see signs from a mile away sometimes, and sometimes I don't see them until it's too late. But either way, if I could, like, be cool with this person and just, you know, not necessarily have to work with them or be close with them, that's my preference, rather than burning a bridge just because I don't want to work with them, you know. Just be cool, you know.
Yeah. I've always been the type that I've always see things half full. I never see it half empty. And I've always been the one that has been cool with everybody.
Yeah, me too.
You know, to some people might think that, you know, I've had some friends that, you know, think I'm disingenuous because I'm cool with everybody. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. Like, if I don't fuck with you, you know that I don't fuck with you.
Yeah, and there's a reason too.
But yeah, there's an absolute reason, and I'm definitely won't fuck with you if you do some fuck shit. I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I give everybody the chance. I give everybody the fair shot. And I'm all right with that. Because, you know, we're all human. We all fuck up.
Yeah.
Nobody's better than anybody else. So why not just be cool and try and understand different perspectives from different people?
Yeah, I agree, man. Tell me a failure that turned out to be a success, or success turned failure.
Well, I think there's a couple of them, actually. Well, I'll say this. Leaving my hometown of San Diego was one of the hardest decisions that I ever had to make, because I was comfortable.
Right.
I was working in radio. I had my friends. I was living with my best friend, Brandon. We had a dope spot. We were having fun. You know, and, you know, me moving to Phoenix and not knowing only one person. I only knew one person, and that was the person who hired me. Knowing him, that was the only person, you know, moving out there. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I should do this. So it could have been a complete failure, because I could have allowed myself to talk myself out of making the move.
Right.
But I made the move, and I haven't been back. Yeah, it's been 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 16 years. I moved November of 2000 to Phoenix, Arizona, and I haven't been back.
Almost on the dot.
So, yeah. So it's cool that, you know, that could have been a failure, because I could have allowed myself to say, no, I want to stay here. I'm with my friends. I'm in my circle. I'm in my zone. But the funny thing is, like, the job I was having, I probably would not have. I probably would have gotten laid off.
Yeah.
So, and then two, the other success that could have been a failure was teaching. My dear friend KAHLEE Hustle was teaching the music business class, and she got the job at Hot 97 as the music director. And, she talked to the former teacher that she took over from. They got together and they were like, well, why don't we do Mattlocks? He's good. He's a leader. He can teach people. And they came to me and was like, here, we want you to teach the music business class at Phoenix College. And I was like, you are out of your mind. I am nowhere near teacher status. I don't know what wine you've been drinking, what kind of weed you've been smoking, but me teaching, nah, I'm not. No, I can't do that. And KAHLEE, in her way, which I always loved and appreciated, she was like, Matt, here's the book. Read the book. Here's some of my notes. And we'll meet in 2 days. We'll meet in 2 days, and we'll go from there. She did not allow me to say no. And I give her all the credit for that, because she knew that I would do a good job, and she saw it before anybody else.
Before you seen it, even.
And that for me was, okay, I can't say no now. And that's one of the things I really had to work on too, was the self-doubt. And photography, that was the same way. Like, I had a Flickr account for a long time before I put up any pictures, because I was super intimidated that nobody was going to like my shit. And one day I was just like, nah, I'm one of my friends, my best friend Brandon was like, man, you're taking pictures and they're fucking dope. Like, put them up. Stop being a pussy. Like, stop fucking around and just put up pictures. Who cares if nobody looks at them, but just put them up. Like, well, you have the account, like, just do it. So I started putting pictures up, and people started to look at them. So you get that confidence, learning to not say no, but just say yes, and then just figure it out. Like, literally, that's how I've gotten to where I've gotten. I in my mind, I may say no, but I haven't fully went back on that and gone, nah, I'm not going to do it at all. I've always, the choices that I've made and the stuff that I've been involved with, I've always been like, while they push me out of my comfort zone, I've never ran away from it.
That's the thing, though.
And that's why
being too comfortable should be scary. And I get it, because I'm a lazy person, bro. And I'm, there's everybody could be insecure about something, but the main thing I'm trying to teach my children is to not be scared of failure, because they need to understand that they can learn from the failure. And like a scientist, man, scientists, inventors, these people fail 90% of their life just to get that one like good idea, like successful idea. And they're like, yeah, here it is. Maybe they promote it for a little bit, then it's back to failing for another 10 years before they, come up with another great invention or a cure to something or whatever. But what I mean? Like, just the idea. So I feel exactly what you're saying, man.
Yeah. So professionally, that not saying no and it's taking the chance has gotten me to where I'm at right now. It's been a cool ride. I've been teaching now for five years, and it's been a great experience. And I'm so glad that KAHLEE never allowed me to say no. She allowed me to say it, but she never allowed me to really follow through with it.
She made sure that you knew.
It rolled
first.
Right over her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
It rolled right over her. She was like, here's the book. Here's everything. Start reading. Get up to speed. We'll meet in 2 days. Like, literally, that's what it was. And literally, I had 3 weeks to get ready for the class. That was it.
5 years later.
5 years later after that, man.
That's really good, man. That's cool. I didn't even know that about you, so that's tight.
Yeah.
That's tight, man.
Learn a new thing.
Now, when I know you've worked with a lot of people in times like that, do you have like a rule or something that you kind of go by before you decide to really partner up with somebody or collab? Not talking about like commission work or nothing like that, more like really working with somebody. You have like some rules to go by?
For me, it's all about, like with the show, like Rhyme and Reason, it's just good people.
Right.
I think I just gravitate and people that I work with. I just want to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And then on top of that, they're just good people. So, Rock is a maniac, but he has hilarious takes. He's pretty fearless about, if you follow Rock on Facebook or you follow Rock on Twitter or on Instagram, he's a troll. He trolls. He's one of the king of the trolls, but he is a very smart individual and he is super knowledgeable about hip hop. He's a hip hop nerd, just like I am. And he's a good person. Like I would rather just have a crew or meet or be able to engage with smart people, but on top of that, just good-hearted individuals.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do business with somebody, or I'm going to do something with somebody, like, are they a good person first and foremost? And I can read, being in the industry long enough, you can read people who are bullshit or not. So typically the people that I rock with are, great people, above board and hella smart.
Yeah, I just had a convo with a homie today, just telling him, like, man, because he's saying how he's trying to get his homies motivated and nobody wants to do anything and blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
those are the wrong people.
Yeah. I'm like, you don't have to stop being their friends, bro. But if we're running in a race and your homie, hurts his leg or trips and fall and you want to run back to help him get up, that's great. You should do that. But if your homie's like, hold up, let me just chill. Hey, have a seat, man. Let's relax. Let's, look at nah, dude, you need to go and you need to be like the least strongest on your team. Just like kind of how you said,
right.
like smarter people, stronger people, or at least you're the best at this. They're the best at this. You guys need to be able to help each other with stuff. And if not, you're not moving forward, man. So I agree 100% with that one, man. With this other thing I always say, I don't know who said it, but something like the Cyclops is the king of the land of the blind or something like that. And it's like, well, but he's still a Cyclops though, but they're blind. So you know what I mean? But sorry, we get sidetracked with that one easily.
That's
Everybody's got homies that will hold you down, and hopefully you're not the one yourself, but definitely go for a team that's going to bring you higher. Don't get comfortable with being the best, man. That's not a good thing. Because once you go into the big leagues, you realize you weren't as good as you thought you were.
And then you realize when you get into that upper echelon of whether it is stardom or success, that and I've had a conversation with people that are in that at the end of the day, they still want to surround themselves with good people.
Yeah.
And the good people are harder to find the higher you successfully go.
Yeah, I will say shady people seem to be comfortable with each other. They attract each other so easily. Mm-hmm. And, when you find good people, it's great, but it's not easy to find them all the time. Not all the time.
Right. So I saw a Logic interview where he was getting interviewed and he was like, I don't fuck with anybody. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I don't fuck with anybody. I go home, play games, hang out with my wife, but I don't really fuck with anybody that's really not fucking with me. And he got a lot of flack for that, but I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck with the people that you fuck with, but other than that, you're not fucking with anybody.
Yeah, it's hard out there. And especially when you have like a name or a status that other people are after. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with wanting something from somebody, but it's not just alone with that, because everybody wants something, you know what I mean? And that's not, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it's kind of like I got friends that, may let me buy them food and may let me, take care of them all the time. But if I'm broke, then they're broke with me and we're still just two broke dudes hanging out. You know what I'm saying? And then there's homies that like are only around when you got money and you're doing stuff for them. And they could be confused, but they're definitely two different things. And I think when you're at a status and you kind of got a target on your back in a sense, it must make it even harder. I found like over time, you meet a new group of people, you start working, you start thinking like, wow, I really found these are the guys. I thought the last guys was the guys or the last people were my team, but this is the team. And then like, if you're lucky, out of those 4 new group of people that you met, like if you 1 or 2 of them turn out to be really, solid, I think, that's what it is. You just going group by group and finding new people that, are about a similar, goal as you. And sometimes they become partners. Sometimes you become a soldier or they become a soldier. Sometimes y'all are both generals and it's not meant to be the same team, but y'all could still, move towards a common goal. So if you could have that, man, I think that's it. You can't be falling in love just like on some teammate stuff. Just everybody you run into, you're like, oh, this is it. Now I'm putting my all into what they're doing. It's like, get yourself a goal. Make sure you're doing for you as well,
Absolutely.
With so much going on, how do you do you have something that ensures that you actually execute your goals? Some people do whiteboards, some people do you call it like a dream board, things like that.
Yeah.
How do you ensure execution?
Yeah, I have a dream board. And then like I have a Star Wars calendar that I mark off the time or mark off when I work out, so I can see how many days I worked out in a month. Like that keeps me accountable.
Right.
On top of having the app that tells everybody that I'm running. I know that might be annoying to a lot of my friends, but it's still accountability.
Yeah.
But I do have a dream board.
You want to tell me some of a couple of the things on dream board? Is if that's personal, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you want to throw it out there.
Okay, so I have lists of intentions, just general intentions that I want to do. Like read more, watch less TV.
Right.
Go out on more dates because my pimp game is not very strong. But like just stuff like that. And I have pictures of cameras that I want. I got a picture of a house that's really dope. Nice. I got a big picture of money, a stack of money, like just to reinforce the successful. And I have a picture of a bodybuilder dude that says, "Are you going to do the work?" And I've had that for like 4 or 5 years now. So it's just funny now that I'm working out a lot. I'm starting to like go, all right, well, on the dream board, okay, I get it.
But you update your dream board, right?
Yeah, I update my intentions on the dream board. I update that every year. Some of the stuff has been up there for a long time, which is cool. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I just started making a new one. I used to have one. It's not a dream board. It's on my laptop. It's the background on my laptop because that's the main thing I'm looking at throughout my day. And it was similar. It's an old couple walking on the beach. For me and my wife to not only continue having a successful marriage with each other, but actually into our old age. You know what I'm saying? And a tree made of money. A nice house, a nice studio. Things like that, I'm good on a car. I don't need I'll get what I want, but I'm straight right now. So there was no car on it. There was a picture of Soundset, a picture of Hip Hop Camp, a picture of A3C, so there's these big festivals that I'll be rocking hopefully soon. And things like that. And then a couple artists and producers that I like to work with. And, I need to update it now to be with my children and seeing, maybe some graduation caps being thrown in the air. Cause one of my big things is like, if I could be like, one of the things that I say every single night and that I ask for in my prayers is to like have me and my family all be able to not only have children and grandchildren, but to be able to watch our children and grandchildren graduate high school. The idea that we get to see our kids become, adults and shit. And that would be wonderful. So, those types of things. And, so that's dope because I've told things like that to other people when they think it's a joke. I'm like, well, I mean, that's fine, brother. But I mean, what do you do? I'm sure we can make anything that we do seem like a joke. It's all about what do you feel about it? You know what I mean? Figure out what you feel about it and put your actions and your thoughts towards it, man. I think it'll help. Doing this podcast, I learned a lot of other people think similar. We think similar to each other. A lot of people feel this way, man, and it's dope to see, because whether you like it or not, your feelings and your intentions are something. You wake up in the morning feeling a certain way, that's a positive momentum being started. So I think across the board, that's how it feels.
Yeah, no, I watched The Secret. I kind of always, my mom has always been the type to be like, speak it into existence or just pray or, so I've always been, I watch The Secret and I've become very aware, and it's true.
Yeah,
if you pay attention to the universe and you pay attention to, I say that a lot in my interviews about putting it out in the universe. I say it on Twitter, like it's true. Like what you put out, it comes back to you. Like, that was a lyric in hip hop, but it's true. Yeah. Like, what you can manifest things in your life, dramatic change in your life, by staying positive and having it around and creating abundance. Like that stuff I believe in that stuff. I believe wholeheartedly in that stuff. I have friends that have been doing it and I see it working for them, so it just makes me go, all right, I got to keep pushing and stay very gracious and have a lot of gratitude and stay thankful. And stay grateful for all of the many blessings that I have, because it could be far worse, and just keep pushing.
Yeah, and the appreciation just automatically makes your life better because you're appreciating what you have. It's like literally,
absolutely,
if you truly do appreciate, you're not just telling yourself you do, but you really do. Like, how can you not? That the idea of appreciation is like happiness. You know what I'm saying? In a way. So it's like, if you really, feel that way about your life, it just makes everything better and easier to deal with to begin with, man. So I agree wholeheartedly with that one, man. I got this thing. I call it the top 3. Give us a top 3. Just one do, one don't, and one must have for you to be successful in what you do.
Okay. The do. Passion.
Yeah.
You gotta have the passion.
Do be passionate.
You have to be excited. I always say this. I am super grateful for the job that I have, because I wake up every morning not dreading having to go to work. And I haven't had to do that in the 20 years that I've worked in radio.
Wow.
There's genuinely people who wake up every morning that hate going to work. They're doing it to collect a check. And that is like blocking blessings, kind of, because there's probably other talented things that you could be doing that you'd be more happier doing. So the do is you got to be passionate about it. You got to be able to wake up in the morning and be like, yo, I'm going to work. It's going to be cool.
Get it. Just wake up like, we about to do this. I tell my son every day, you ready for a great day? Before I drop him off, then I go to work.
Yeah. Yep. The don't, negative. Don't ever be negative. Like, negativity breeds negativity, and then it's just the downfall.
Yeah. Downward spiral.
Then it's a downward spiral. Don't hang around negative people all the time. Stay away from negative girlfriends, negative boyfriends. If your parents are always next, stay away from them too.
I feel you, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. Doesn't mean that you never gotta ever talk or be, but you cannot surround yourself with negativity on that day-to-day level. And unfortunately, you also cannot help everybody. You know what I'm saying? Do not like just put yourself in this negative state for long periods of time for people who don't want to help themselves, because you're gonna get caught up.
Yeah, and what was the last one?
Oh, a must have. Must have could be everything. Could be anything. Could be a drink. Could be a Bible. Could be a book. Whatever.
I would say you must have humility.
Yeah.
You must have humility, because at the end of the day, that is always going to recenter you into the positive light by being humble and having humility and understanding that you can be knocked from any perch that you think you're perceived that you're on. You down a couple of notches.
Yeah.
Whether it's your mom or your dad or your friends or your job, or you get fired from your job, or if you have humility about it, then you're going to always recenter yourself back into being more positive. So that's what I say.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. I think a lot of times we miss out on situations in life because we have the wrong outlook on it. And regardless of, we feel we deserve something, maybe we do, but I don't know. I don't want to say we have to have trust in God if that's what you believe, but you gotta know that, this is not the end. You know what I mean? Look at it like, hey, this shit happened. Why it happened, I don't know, but I can make something out. Because I don't believe everything happens for a reason, to be honest. Maybe, but I believe that a lot of things do. I don't feel like every single thing has to happen might be a better way. You know what I mean? But I feel like if something's going to happen, I can at least make something bad happens. I can make something good out of it. If something, you know what I mean? So, man, you just gotta, like you said, it goes back to the stay positive, man. If however you want to look at it, I think all my episodes so far has been cats like us who feel this way. A lot of things about vibes and energy and positive intentions and things like that. I bet you some of our people think we're a bunch of hippies. Try it if you have not.
I probably was a hippie in my other life. I like Nag Champa, patchouli. Like I'm pretty much like a hippie, dude. Like, and it's okay. Like I kind of,
actually good.
My mom's the same way. She burns incense and reads a lot and is very spiritual. And I get that from her. I understand why I am the way I am. Is my mom is like that, and then my dad is the humorous. Big dude that has a lot of personality, and like, so I kind of get those from each of my parents, and that kind of makes me who I am. But, I'm just, I'm thankful for just all cool people that I've interacted with. And that's just all through being humble and being around positive people. Like the network is strong. Yeah. You don't really realize how strong your network is when you have a lot of cool, positive people. Like if you really sat back and were like, man, okay, who have I interacted with that has just been all cool? And you'll realize your network is pretty wide. Your network is wider than you think.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I can see that.
Yep.
Man, so we getting to the end of the show. This last thing that I want to ask, man, basically give the people some words to live by, maybe some words that you live by.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that I have any words to live by. I've always just, my mom and my dad has always said, treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Yeah. So I've always just have been very aware and very cognizant of, people when I say, yeah, you're Mattlocks. Like, no, like I just had a random dude like come up to me at the Lauryn Hill show and was like, hey, my name is Dylan. And like, yo, you came to speak to my class and like, I think you're cool. Like, and I just shook his hand and we talked for a little bit. Like, you treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And out of that, good things can only happen.
Yeah, and at the very least, that was a good exchange. You know what I mean? I feel exactly what you're saying, man. Not enough of that going around, unfortunately. But man, you know what you want out of life.
Yeah, we have a lot to worry about. But I think that the more people talk about just being positive and interacting, I think that, I put that on my Facebook post that I shared a video, and I just, at one point, love and community will always shine through.
Yeah.
So if you have love and then you have community, that will always win. Regardless of how many evil or dark motherfuckers are out there, there's plenty of love and community out there, and that will always shine through.
And I think they say ask and you shall receive, but I think give and you shall receive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So we're approaching the end of the show. Can you please go ahead and plug yourself, just tell the people where to contact you, where they could listen, tell a little bit more about your class that you teach and how people could get involved, and just anything else you want to say, man. Now's the time for that. Okay,
so on social media, it's on Instagram, Twitter. It's at Mattlocks, Mattlocks. My Facebook, I think, is still private, and I think I'm going to keep it that way. But yeah, on Instagram and on Twitter, they're public. It's at Mattlocks. The radio show is called Rhyme and Reason Radio. Social media is at Rhyme Radio. We are on Friday nights, midnight to 2 a.m. on 101.1 The Beat here in Phoenix. So you can stream us live, azthebeat.com, or you download the Beat app in your Google Play Store or your app store for your iPhone, and you can listen to us every Friday night. We do have old shows up on Mixcloud, so you can go to our Mixcloud / Rhyme and Reason, our Rhyme Radio on Mixcloud, and hear old shows that we put up because we just got terminated from SoundCloud, bastards.
I know why they do us like that.
Yeah, they've. Well, I have such a gripe with SoundCloud right now.
But Mixcloud is the spot, anyways, man.
Mixcloud is winning right now. If you are interested in taking my music business classes, you have to enroll at Phoenix College. And I teach both sections of music business, 109 and 110. My instructor name, of course, my real name, Matthew Kirkpatrick. You can find it there. I don't do any online at this point. But if you are in Phoenix and you want to take my music business class, you just got to enroll in Phoenix College. You could take music business. So, if you're interested in my photography, you look on my Flickr page. The link is on my Instagram, so you can go to the Flickr page and look at all my photography. If you're interested in the pictures that I take, I do a lot of concert photography. That's my passion. Hopefully I can get on a national tour and be like the tour photographer like Ben Haggerty or Grady Brannon does for G-Eazy. Like there's a lot of, that's the lane. That's where I want to go next. Just do photography, go out on tour with a dope artist and go around the world and take dope pictures that they'll use and create memories.
Yeah. And then 20 years later, put out a few of the pictures that you never told anybody you took. Right? You got to keep some low key ones.
Do a book and do that stuff. Yeah, that stuff is cool, man. Yeah. Like there's so much cool stuff that photography is expanding and branding to. Especially for hip hop kids like us, like, you never thought that photography would be such an integral part, but yeah, it is, man. It is. Yeah. It's a big time part.
And this time, this age with Instagram, everybody's a photographer, but to be honest, like a lot of people have gotten really good from it, and maybe technically they're not where they want to be, but I feel like as a platform to launch people into actual, true photography, I think it's really done that for a lot of people. I think that's dope because it's just more art, and I feel like art is something that the world can always use more of, real art, true art.
I'll never hate on anybody who is Instagram popular because of their photos that they take, because that's their truth. They're expressing their truth through their social media, and who can, why should I knock it? Because I do the same thing. And if you appreciate it, cool. And if you don't, that's cool too, because it's not for everybody. Art is subjective. Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. So
yeah, Patrice O'Neal, the comedian, passed away. He said something along the lines of like a good. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but it was something like a good show for me is when half the audience love my shit, laughing their ass off, and the other half the audience like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Maybe even offended. You know what I mean? Because if you're making something that everybody loves, there may be something missing there, I think. So as long as it's that genuine, you is in that art, it doesn't matter if somebody likes it from an aesthetic or sonic point of view. At least they could feel that realness. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to art, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, so that's it, dude. Man, I really appreciate you. I'm gonna put all your links. Cool, everything we talked about is gonna be in the show notes. So if you're listening and maybe you missed his Instagram, Twitter, I got his personal phone number. I'm gonna put that in there too. For all the MCs with that hot fire,
hot single chicks. I'm about it. You can call me. You can text me.
No doubt, man. I appreciate the love that you always show, my brother. I'm glad that you was on here. I appreciate that too, man.
Thank you very much, man. Status Escalate. This podcast is going to be the one. I'm telling you.
Good looking now. All right, man. That's what it is. Catch y'all in a couple weeks. Peace to the colleagues. There's my episode with my homeboy Mattlocks. If you missed anything, be sure to check the show notes at 310music.net. Just go ahead and go to the podcast section and click Status Escalate Podcast. For all the links and details, plus everything we discussed in this episode, including how to find and contact our guest and his top 3. Also, when you get a chance, definitely go to platformcollection.com for more great shows on the network, like the Tumex Hologram Podcast with the homeboy Tumex, Really Though with my man Cookbook at LA Symphony, the Crappy Awesome Podcast with Mr. Arash and my man Kill C. Ray, and my other show, Proof of Life Radio. Plus, it's more on the Platform Collection Network. You're going to love it. Just make sure you go there, check it out, see what we got. Also want to say thanks to our sponsor, DeadstockCloset.com. Deadstock Closet specializes in vintage gear and accessories of all styles and brands. Shop at DeadstockCloset.com and receive your purchase ironed, cleaned, and ready to wear. Use the coupon code SEPodcast at checkout and get 10% off your purchase, plus an additional discount on your next one. DeadstockCloset.com. Vintage flyness straight to your doorstep. And as always, big thanks to StatusEscalate.com. Status Escalate is a PR company whose purpose is to create awareness for you as an artist and expand your brand. Status Escalate's been spreading the word on new up-and-coming artists for years with a strong focus on hip-hop. Go to the contact section at StatusEscalate.com and discuss package and rates. Let them know you heard about them through our podcast and get 50% off your first project. I vouch for Stat over at Status Escalate. He's got me a lot of press and interviews and just like a lot of love with current releases, and I've even hooked him up with a couple folks that they've been really happy with his work as well. So if you feel like you're ready for that next step, give him a try. I think you'll be happy with the results. Other than that, check me in 2 weeks with a new guest and more info to help you progress and move forward in this business, man. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the show. And remember, you can plan for success, but you can't reach it without execution. Catch you on the next one. Peace to the colleagues.
I put in work and watch my status escalate.
What do you Platform Collection.com.